This video might upset a few people. So guys, today we're going to talk about the one thing you cannot prepare for. Now I know a lot of us, we have all of these wargaming things we do in our heads. We wargame, how to prepare the family for the ultimate apocalypse. How would we deal with bad tornadoes, hurricanes, things of that nature. And so a lot of the things that we wargame are real life issues that we can definitely be involved in. I know some people wargame the zombie apocalypse. And now that we are in 2025, the zombie apocalypse could look like anything, right? It could look like Dawn of the Dead or World War Z where they're running in herds, or just the Night of the Living Deads where they're taking their gingerly time trying to eat your brain. So, of course, we wargame all of that. But I noticed the one thing that the prepper community never talks about, or probably rarely ever talks about, is the death of somebody in your family during the apocalypse. Now, granted, guys, when you lose somebody now, in this day and age, or in society right now, as society is holding on by a thin thread, nonetheless, we still have somewhat law and order. But how do you deal with that stress on top of stress of losing someone? Now, granted, this video is coming from a place of me losing my son a few months ago and going through the entire ups and downs of the emotional roller coaster that's probably never going to end. And then, of course, I start thinking, well, what if I was in the apocalypse? How would I handle that? And I started to think in real terms and not like movie-esque bullshit where like, I'll rise to the occasion and be a hero. No, it don't work that way. Yes, there are things that are happening during the apocalypse that's going to take your mind off of it, especially if you have other responsibilities. And I mean people, right? If you have only yourself to be responsible for and you lose someone in your family really close to you, like a child, that's a hard one to get over, especially like during the apocalypse. And then you go through that depressional stage of, well, I don't have, nothing to live for, yada, 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 the whole 9 yards. And then you start to become a different person. During the apocalypse, you'll probably have a lot of things to take your mind off of it, especially if you have other people depending on you. So you lose that person, and then you turn around and go, I need to do this. I got to make sure these people are still squared away. I have to hold it together for as long as I can. Now, granted, guys, you're going to have some breakdown moments. It's just going to happen. You could be in the middle of fucking watching a movie, and then all of a sudden you start breaking down. And that quiet time, especially in the apocalypse, let's just say there's no power, there's no TV, there's no nothing. That quiet time is going to be your breakdown time. And then come sunrise, you got to hop to it again. Now, I went through the whole emotional roller coaster, still going through it. That's not going to stop. But that initial hurt that's still there were days I didn't want to get out of bed. And there were actually days I didn't. Believe it or not, I stayed in bed the whole day. And then, rolled out of bed to go to the bathroom, drink some water, and then back in the bed. You can't do that in the apocalypse. You really can't, especially if you have a homestead and you got things to keep you busy. Now, if you have a homestead now, you got things to keep you busy, because I'm pretty sure you want to stay busy, and staying busy is key to not getting over it. You're never going to get over a child passing away. Hell, or even your husband or your wife passing away. You're not going to get over it. You're going to adapt to it. That's the best you can do. When people say it takes time to get over it, you're never getting over it. But you have to adapt to it so that you can keep moving forward. And I say this, and I'm again doing this video on the other side of that train tracks, if you will, because there are people who are currently going through it now. There are people who lost loved ones, who lost kids, and they're trying to navigate this way through this emotional forest of bullshit. Because everything in front of you is an emotional fucking roller coaster. There's 1 minute you're listening to a song, you think about that person. Next minute you're watching a movie or a movie trailer, you're thinking about that person. Recently they got these things online now going, it's 1988, it's 1998, 20 something years ago, this is what it was. And I, of course me, I think about my son. That was the year he was born. But again, you have to move forward. You can't sit here and just hands in pockets, head slumping, and then that's it. Granted, you need time to grieve. That's without a doubt. And you have to take a grieving period, I think. I think that you need to fold in a little bit and grieve somewhat. Now, even during the apocalypse, you might have to have a grieving period. You might have to take a couple days off, man, and just like do nothing. Hopefully other people around you will pick up the slack. If you're the only one that can pick up the slack, then you're going to have to suck it up and mow through it. But understand, guys, that this is one of the hardest things you're ever going to have to go through, if you have to go through it, and especially during the apocalypse. I mean, like, you're already dealing with the stresses of whatever that apocalypse looks like, whatever that might be. You're dealing with the stresses of that. Then you're dealing with the stresses of a loss of a loved one. Now you got to navigate all that shit. And the only thing that I come to, again, it only happened a few months ago, is that you just got to move forward, and you have to take the time to break down. So when breakdown time happens, break the fuck down. Go into it. Cry, scream, yell, do whatever you have to do. But know that at some point you got to stop, and then you got to keep marching forward. Going backwards is not an option, and offing yourself is not an option. It is definitely a thought in your head, but it's not an option. Like in the real world, you still got to make moves. You still got to make things happen. And this goes into everyday life too, guys. Just because things is copacetic now and something happens to you traumatic, you don't go into that shell, into that deep depression, and then talk about ending it all. It isn't worth it. Believe me. Other than that, guys, this is one of those topics that I think that the prepper community doesn't talk about a lot. I think that we skirt it a lot. We'll talk, in our heads. Some of us might think it, and we'll go, we'll march forward. It's not easy. The emotional forest or roller coaster, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that you have to deal with. That is the kick in the dick. Believe me, it's a kick in the nuts. It's not. You always have that. You always have that talk. I can't imagine losing my child, and when it happens, you cannot imagine the shit that you're faced with that incident or that event or that traumatic incident. It's just, there's no words for it until you go through it. So hopefully, God willing, no one else that I know at least has to go through this shit. But it's something that you should definitely war game in your head. And at the very least, go, what the fuck is my next move? Because that's the more important things. And if you have wife and kids, more people dependent on you, make those people your anchor. Make sure the people around you are your anchor. And you'll be able to move forward a little easier. Other than that, guys, this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching.